So welcome everyone. Those of you that don't know me, Scott Talley. I chief bottle washer at Network in Action, and I have found my true definition of success. It says when you get to work around people that you love, you're successful. So by every description, after 62 years, I am here. I have 58 great franchise owners and a couple thousand members, and I haven't found anybody I don't like yet. So we're having a great time. I want to take a couple of minutes and talk about a few things that may affect your business. For those of you that were on the call yesterday, this will be a little redundant, but I promise I'll go quickly. I just want to make sure that we're being a resource, and I want to start by saying I'm not an expert in this field, but I have tried to do as much reading as I possibly can and watch as many webinars as I can. And there are two things that impact your business. The Senate just passed a bill, and I read on Politico where they were going to race it through, and then they hit the gavel and said they're waiting until tomorrow. Isn't that our politics today? But basically, they need time to read the document, and they're going to try to do like a roll call kind of vote over the phone. It'll be sort of comedic. If they don't get 100% unanimous vote for that bill, then they have to call everybody back to Congress, which will be 400 people sitting in a room 2 feet apart. Hopefully that doesn't happen. So the bill has an impact on you. You've probably read and heard about the part where if you're married and you make less than 95,000 or 99,000 or whatever it is, you'll get a check, and you'll get a check for each child. But what hasn't been talked about as part of the CARES Act is the small business piece. And that's the piece where if you have a payroll, you can quickly apply for basically a grant. Really, you don't have to repay it. The rule is that they're trying to keep employment up. So you basically take, and it's 2.5 times your payroll. So if you have a payroll of $10,000 monthly, you'll be able to get 2.5 times that amount. It appears that right now you'll go through your bank, and it'll be a simple taking down your documents of your corporation, your payroll, your financials, and it's not based on credit worthiness or ability to pay back, just that you're going to keep these employees on board. So that's 2.5 times your payroll. That can be very helpful, and it could happen very quickly under this new program. So make sure you're well versed in that. Get some advice, and if I can help, by all means, call me. It's in the CARES Act. The other program is basically an SBA loan through a disaster relief that is going to take 75 to 90 days to fund. A lot more hurdles to jump through. You'll apply for that through the SBA. And anything over $25,000 will be collateralized. It's for nonprofits and profit companies. I think it's 3.75% interest, and they'll set you up on terms. So look into both of those programs and make sure you figure out your strategy, because as I said yesterday, if you're planning to borrow, $60,000 with SBA, and you can get $30,000 on the payroll, then maybe that's a better strategy at first because you don't have to pay it back. So don't think that you don't qualify. That's a big mistake a lot of us make. And I made that mistake in 2002 when I had a flood on a piece of property I owned. And I waited, and everybody said, why didn't you apply for a flood loan? And I finally did, and I got it. So don't think that these aren't for you. They're exactly for you, especially this CARES Act for smaller businesses. So any questions on that, just real quick? I know I went fast, but I don't want to take up too much of Jared's time, and I want to make sure that everybody knows where to go get information. So feel free to call me, and I'll lead you to the places where I've been led, that if I can help. Let me give you my cell phone number. It's 713-417-6152. Glad to help you anytime. Just reach out on anything. So without further ado, I'm really excited about today. My good friend, Jared Polak, was a co-founder of EntreResults here in Houston. And Jared knows, I've said this before, you can throw a rock up in the air and hit 10 business coaches on the way down. In fact, on LinkedIn the other day, I hit business coach on LinkedIn. I think there's 46,000 people that claim they're a business coach in Phoenix. But I can tell you there's a difference between a business coach and somebody that's walking the walk and talking the talk and who's had results. And I've seen the results personally through mutual friends that Jared has worked with. So EntreResults is a growing company. You just, you look at a business coach, and let's say they're making $30,000 or $40,000 a year, and you go, how can you coach me? I'm growing a big, but that's not the case. Jared is not only very successful, his team is very successful, and he's building out a big organization. And I love the way he thinks, and I know he's going to be a great gift for all of us. So without further ado, Jared, it's all yours. Jared Polak, founder of EntreResults. Thank you for being with us today.
No, awesome to be on here, and thanks so much, Scott. And a couple other things. First of all, you didn't mention this, but I've been a part of Network in Action from the ground floor too, which is really critical. I've been privileged to be connected with Moose Rosenfeld, who I think is on the call too. And so Network in Action has been a blessing for me. It's been a pleasure for our business. It's a part of our entire strategy. And then it's also just fun to be around people that are like-minded and are growing. So appreciate you giving me the plug, but I want to give you the plug too. And I just think it's awesome how I remember the vision that you had for Network in Action getting started, where we are now, everything that you're saying is coming to fruition. And I know you think as big as I do. I cannot wait for this conversation a year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, and just what you're doing in this world. So I appreciate it and happy to be on here today. How to work productively from home. Today's going to be interactive, except I'm going to probably give you a little overview at the beginning, go over a couple of points, and then I want you guys, there's a chat bottom here. Make comments on here, ask questions. I think Scott and some other people are going to be managing the comments, and we definitely want to make this interactive at the beginning. I'm going to do a little overview, a little monologue to get us going, but we want this to be interactive. After I get to a certain point, we're going to ask some questions. We want some dialogue. Scott's going to jump in too and be a part of the fun later as we go through this content. But I remember a couple weeks ago, I was sitting working from home and I got a call and I didn't recognize the number. I picked up the call and it was Fox 26 News. And they called me because they wanted to do a story on businesses and how to prepare for the coronavirus and how to work from home. And I got interviewed a couple weeks ago about working remotely from home. He already recognized us kind of as a leader of home coaching people to be productive at home. And it was an awesome interview, but just it's amazing of obviously what's happened since that time. You know, when we got started coaching 12 years ago, there weren't nearly as many people working remotely from home. Now here we are today. Certainly almost everyone's working from home now, but this is just a trend that's going to continue in the future. And so this topic is important for today, but it's also important moving forward is how to work productively from home. Now there's an acronym out there that you may have heard of, but the acronym is FEAR, F-E-A-R. F-E-A-R, and there's an acronym that's been used and it's good. I'm not going to use it here today, but it's false, the F, evidence, appearing real. False evidence appearing real, the acronym for FEAR, which is good when you're talking about mindset. We're going to use a different acronym for FEAR today. There's nothing wrong with the other one, but it's focus, energy, activity, and results. It's focus, energy on activity and results. So it's all about taking the right action. It's all about focusing on taking the right activity right now. With the right activity, you get the right results over time. We're going to talk about the problems. What is going on right now? We're going to discuss 8 problems today. We're going to talk about solutions to the problem. And then we're going to talk about little nuggets of what we can do today to be more productive from home. I have a lot of wisdom on this, but you as a collective group are smarter than me, certainly. So the wisdom of the group is going to prevail. We're going to try to glean everything from all the collective wisdom of all of you on this call today, and we're going to kind of come up with the best steps moving forward. Now, there's a lot of people on the call today. Some of you guys want great content, and you want to start applying this for you right now. You're going to get that. But also many of you, especially in the NIA community, you guys are connectors, you guys are resources. And so you're also looking for a resource to share with other people. And we're creating a lot of different webinars on this topic, and we do these webinars for free for different organizations, for different companies. We really want to serve as many people as we can right now. We're going to give an option for you to share our information with other people so we can do something similar and help different organizations during this time. Problem number 1. The coronavirus mindset. Even for some of us who have a powerfully strong mindset, it is a challenge right now with how we're getting bombarded in many different directions. That's problem number 1 with productivity. You know, do we have a fearful mindset right now? Do we have a growth mindset? Who are we surrounding ourselves with, positive or negative? You have the opportunity to grow right now, but we have to ask, the right questions. Now, I'm going to get into these questions a little bit. And there's a couple things. We're going to talk about growth questions, but we're also going to talk about the right questions right now logically. And so even though I'm excited, I know we're growing during this time, it's important to be logical about our business, to have a good mindset. Then we'll also have some growth questions. So think about the worst case realistic situation that could happen to my business right now. What is the best case realistic situation that could happen to my business right now? And what is the most realistic situation? A lot of times when people, and we do this not just with this situation, but with a lot of different things, people always have everything in their mind of what could be, and you kind of co-create things from a coaching environment is what are the different scenarios that could happen? And what happens is you kind of land on the most realistic situation, which really usually isn't that bad. So if you haven't done this yet for your particular situation, both your business and also personal life, go through this exercise. So it's important to be logical and practical. However, this is what a lot of people miss the mark on right now. Having growth questions right now. With what's going on right now, how can you triple your business right now? How can you increase your productivity 10 times right now? How can you advance right now too? We have to ask the right questions that are both logical, but also growth questions right now. A lot of businesses have an opportunity right now to grow in this moment, but also position themselves in a way as human beings and as businesses to grow exponentially afterwards. And there's a couple different things also I want to talk about right now in regards to action. What can we do right now to take action to have the right mindset? Well, I think it's important to realize that life has challenges and there's problems in life. And we need to choose, and you need to choose, we all need to choose to not have bad days, but only have bad moments. No bad days, no bad moments. This is outside of someone that you love passes away. There's exceptions to this, but for the majority of time, the challenge we have with our mindset is we allow ourselves to have bad days or bad weeks or bad months, but that's not necessary. Just allow yourself to have a bad moment. So imagine during this time you receive bad news. Maybe you talk to someone and you receive this bad news during this time. What needs to happen, and this is maybe something contrary to what other people might say, but I want you to feel the badness. Maybe you lose a client, for example. Doesn't even have to happen right now, but maybe a client decides not to do business with you. You say, man, that stings. But I'm going to take my phone right now and I'm going to set my alarm on my phone. And for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to have a bad moment. I'm going to sulk in this pain. But when that alarm goes off, when that rings, I am going to have the best remainder day of my life. As soon as that ring goes off, I'm going to make it happen. And as a coach and just as a friend that believes in this, it is a little bit unrealistic to say you're never going to have a bad moment, but it's very realistic to say don't have a bad day. If you eliminate your bad days or the length of your bad moments from 2 hours to an hour, from an hour to 30 minutes, from 30 minutes to 5 minutes, maybe you end up making it 2 minutes, you can definitely increase your mindset during this time. A couple other things, and some of this stuff is self-evident. Some of these concepts are not like that. Maybe you haven't thought about it, but some of them is eliminate negativity. I watch the news twice a day to figure out what's going on, not throughout the day. So the other thing is to think about, and this is, as we've interviewed people, part of the research that we've done over the years, and we're doing more now, is we're interviewing a lot of people of what they're experiencing in terms of productivity from home. And one thing I realized that's coming to the forefront that we've coached on for many years, but physical activity affects your productivity in a major way. A lot of people, like you might be working from home now and you're working more from home. And even if you worked in an office before where you sat down, you're more sedentary now. You're doing less physical activity, or maybe you're eating differently now, and that affects the mind. So just be aware of your physical activity. We'll talk about routines in a little bit, but physical activity is key. I believe in praying every day. I have a Christian worldview. Not everyone has that, but meditation, having some moment of solitariness is important to be productive. And this is the next thing, the final thing is something that everyone agrees with, but being thankful, saying out loud what you're thankful for, okay? Every single day. So right now in the comment section, I want you guys to just post, what are you thankful for? What is one thing you're thankful for right now? And it could be something as simple as I'm thankful for my spouse. It could be my health, or it could be even minute things. I'm thankful that I turned on hot water and hot water came out. Trust me, I've done a lot of mission trips in Haiti and different parts of the world. That's not a guarantee to have hot water. So just make comments right now, and we're gonna have a mindset of gratefulness as we continue on this act of productivity. What are you thankful for right now? Or maybe as you also write what you're thankful for, what's one tip that you have about eliminating negativity, or what's one thing that you do that's a part of your morning routine that helps you win, that it involves physical activity. This is good stuff to interact and share, because we learn more from you than we learn more from the smartest person in the room. But now I'm going to show you something that you maybe have never seen before. And this is actually a process when you feel fear to go from being fearful to empowered. And I'm going to go over this process, and then we're going to maybe have a little discussion after this as well. So fear to empowered, this is the process. So you have a fear, maybe something happens, and maybe right now, as unfortunately you're watching the news too much, or I'm watching the news too much, and I say, man, I'm gonna lose every single one of my clients. That's an exaggeration. So we go to the scenarios where we do best, worst, and most likely scenario. Okay, that's not the worst thing, but I'm afraid of losing a strong portion of my business. And what happens is we have to identify the fear or identify the limiting belief and write it out or say it out or whatever. But then you think, okay, when I start thinking and have this fear of losing clients, well, that makes me feel icky. That makes me feel depressed a little bit. That makes me feel anxious. Write that out. How does that make you feel during that time? And as a result of, I'm going to lose these clients, I'm feeling anxious, then it results in inactivity for many of us. Or we just kind of go to the corner of the room and maybe get out that ice cream or that beer I shouldn't be having in the middle of the day or whatever. It makes us unproductive. So no good action happens as a result of the fear, the thoughts, and the action. From a coaching standpoint, the only way to have a better mindset is to take action. The only way to feel better is to have movement. However, the challenge is we're already stuck in this fear. And so the only way to do that is to think of what's going to trigger me to take action. What's going to spark me to take action? That's called the trigger moment. The trigger moment. Your trigger moment needs to be specific for you. Now, one trigger moment can be as relatable to the fear as possible. Now, I know we haven't experienced anything like this before, but I go back to the fact that when Hurricane Harvey, when we got crushed by the hurricane, it was tough, but Houston came out like a boxer ready to crush it, and we just dominated after that. Okay, I know it's not exactly the same, but that's a trigger moment that I said, listen, we had a challenge. I know 7 or 8 of my friends who lost their businesses to water, not their entire businesses, just the structure. Lots of my friends lost their home, but you know what? Boom, we overcame that. That's a trigger moment. What's your trigger moment? For any fear you might have, maybe it was no one said you'd be successful in a business and you overcame it. Maybe it was you were afraid of speaking in front of a group, but you've done that. Maybe it's you never, if you're teaming up with like Teresa Strong and you've never been a part of a marathon or running, maybe you ran your first 5K and you did it. You didn't think you could. That's your trigger moment. So think about trigger moments, and then as a result, take action. Trigger moment, action. Trigger moment, action. Okay, I'm afraid of losing my clients, but you know what? Hurricane Harvey, we overcame it. We're going to crush it. I'm going to call 100 people right now. I'm just going to talk to people, past clients, current clients. I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to reach out to people. I'm going to take action. And what happens is when you start taking action, that's when you start feeling better. That's when your feelings start to improve. You can't think your way to feeling better. You have to take action. You take action. I'm making calls. Holy cow, I got a hold of someone. Oh man, they're interested in my service now. Okay, great. Oh, I talked to someone. Man, I encouraged someone. That feels good. Now what happens is you go from fear, your bad fear, your thoughts, you're in action, trigger moment, you're taking action. You're starting to feel better. You know what? We're going to get through this. I got this. To empowered. The empowering belief might be, I'm going to lose my clients and say, you know what? If I take massive action right now, I'm going to grow during this time. Or if I take massive action right now, 2 months from now, I'm going to be in a completely different situation. That is a process to go from fear to an empowering. And I did the best I can in the short amount of time I have. Obviously, when people interact with us on a one-on-one coaching basis, we go through each person's specific challenge and we work through it. But I hope this helps. Now, what is the action step right now? Choose it and do it. Choose one of the nuggets I talked about. So what I want you guys to do is, based on mindset right now, what is one thing that you're choosing to do? Maybe it's the only be off track for 5 minutes. Maybe it's you're going to choose to go through this fear to empowering belief. Maybe it's you're going to choose to eliminate some more negativity. Maybe you're going to commit to physical activity. But what I want to do right now, Scott, if you could do this, take some comments. And if you want to allow people to speak, again, I don't really have control, but if you want to call on some people that have had some comments and allow them to share some of their nuggets about mindset right now. And Scott, I know you're not always a loss for words, so feel free to share your own as well, my friend.
Let's see here. I'm seeing that people are healthy, thankful they can work from home. Let's see if we got any comments, questions. If you got a question, pop it on here for me.
Or if you don't have a question, if you want to interact and you just want to share something that
lot of great attitudes on here about spending time with family and good health, client relationships. Turn off the news, Tom Brody. Couldn't agree with you more there. I like Jared's idea of checking in once or twice a day. Shayna said, find the positive in every scenario. Well, that's for sure. A lot of gratitude here. There seems to be a theme. I love that. Okay, anybody have any questions? I don't see that just yet. Any comments?
No, we're gonna stay interaction.
Right.
Maybe one question. If not, I'll keep rolling.
Keep rolling there.
All right, great. Now we're gonna get into some nitty gritty of organizing a home work environment. Now, a lot of people right now that even work from home, they're in a different situation because their parents are at home with them now, or their kids are with them now. There's a lot of dynamics that are new from home, even if you work from home before. Many people never liked working from home, so they're at home for the first time. Wherever you're at right now, here's some real simple tips that we really need to do, every one of them. And the first point I'm going to make, it seems so simple. It really is. And part of coaching is not always rocket science. It's about the execution of it. But feel good where you're at. Be in an environment where you feel good. Here's some things specifically. Get dressed. I do take an approach. There's 10%, 20% that maybe have a different approach. And again, if you crush productivity and you're in your pajamas, that's fine. I do not believe in that. I believe in getting up, getting dressed. You can be more comfortable than normal, but get dressed. When I was interviewed on Fox 26 News, he asked me questions about productivity. He actually hit on his news clip. He showed himself with a tie and a suit and like shorts underneath. And obviously it was his news article. I didn't challenge him on that, but like that would be not what I would recommend because it just feels weird. So get dressed, be ready to go, but be comfortable. Food. Again, these are basic tips. I do not personally believe, and I've done a lot on habits. We coach on habits all the time. We've done research based on habits. I probably read 15 to 20 books on habits looking at research. The willpower doesn't always work. Trying harder with food doesn't always work. But what does work is eliminating or reducing the temptation to eat unhealthy food. So if you're working from home now, please have healthy food at home. Eliminate, throw stuff away. I know every once in a while we'll have a party and someone will bring food that is like super unhealthy and we try to give it all away, but if we can't give it away, I hate throwing away food, but the reality is if something's unhealthy, we'll throw it away because it's better for everybody if we don't eat that unhealthy food. Think about your pantry, change it up, make sure it is a healthy, because I don't have control if I have a gallon of ice cream in my home and I'm working from home now. I will eat ice cream a lot. I love ice cream. But if I don't have ice cream at home, Not a problem. Working space. Have a dedicated desk. If you can close it, if you can close the door, close the door. If you can't, even if you have to set something up on a desk or the kitchen table, make an adjustment. Okay, I'm going to work now. Take your computer, I'm working now. Take your folders, I'm working now. This is now my work environment. You have to have a mental shift to be productive. Okay, end of the day, I'm done at 6, 5, whatever. I'm moving it over here. I'm putting it in the cabinet. Okay, I'm done working. This is now my home environment. There's got to be a transition to be productive at work. That's very important. Ambiance, music, temperature, children have to have a communication. Kids, mommy's working right now. Have some boundaries, and then pets. It's very important to have some boundaries with the pets as well. I want you guys to share your tips. Working from home, or how do you guys organize home? What makes you feel good? Any tidbits on working space? Any suggestions or comments on children, pets, anything? Love for you to post those now. This is really the nitty-gritty of the basics, but the basics are important for productivity working from home. The action step is to do these, or do most of these. That is the action step. Okay, I'm gonna keep rolling. Scott, if you ever see something that you're like, man, this is a question, just jump in whenever you need.
Will do.
Okay, very good. Moving on to problem number 3. I'm not sure how to plan remote days. Planning is an issue with people a lot of times, but working from home, there's another thing of productivity in terms of how do I plan from home? Simple thing is RPA planning. RPA planning. I'll give you an example in a second. Results, purpose, activity. Results, purpose, activity. There's a lot of different rhythms for planning, yearly, quarterly. I mean, actually in our process, we actually have a strategic plan where you do 25 years, 10 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, quarterly metrics, monthly, weekly, daily. Some of that can be overwhelming, but we do that with you. That's why we do that on a one-on-one or a small group environment. But for right now, we're gonna kind of look at like quarterly planning and then also some daily rhythms just to keep it simple. So here's some examples of some RPA: results, purpose, activity, solution to planning. Listen, it's a new quarter coming up. First of all, we're coming up on April, May, June. A lot has changed. If you haven't started planning your next quarter, this is the time to do it. I like result, purpose, activity. What's the results you want in quarter 2? Maybe choose 2 or 3 or 4 things. Keep it simple. Well, maybe the result I want in quarter 2 is I wanted to gain 4 new clients. Now, from a mindset standpoint, it's past tense. Result, past tense. We gained 4 new clients. It's already happened. It's like you're looking back and like, man, quarter 2 is awesome. I gained 4 clients. So result, and then the purpose would be the raw realness of why you wanted to have those 4 new clients. Maybe you want to take a vacation. Maybe that's the reason why. Write the reason why, because a lot of times if people don't have a true purpose or why, it's a silly goal to begin with. So result, purpose, but then the activity, going back to the original fear, it's all about action to get results, action or activity to get results. Fear, it's about action gets results. Well, activity, action, same thing. Man, I'm going to call 100 prospects. I'm going to send out these proposals. These are the steps, the action steps necessary to make it happen. Everyone knows that knows Moose Rosenfeld, that he is not afraid to take action. He's not afraid to pick up the phone and reach out to people and connect to people because he's a servant. He loves it, but the activity is there for him. That's one reason he's been so incredibly successful. Who else is willing to take action? But that's a part of the planning. You have to have that plan first. Now, here's some daily tips to planning. I talk about this. We talk about this all the time with everyone. Schedule is key. How do you manage your schedule? There's a lot to this, all right? But I'm just going to keep it Monday through Friday for right now. Different chunks of time. Monday, what do you do in the morning, the afternoon? What are your blocks of time to follow up? When do you do the small amount of administrative stuff? When are you doing your marketing, your selling? Basically creating chunks and blocks on your calendar. When are you meeting with people? When are you doing your work? Having a schedule is really key. Winning the morning. If you win the morning, you are going to win the day. Winning the morning, winning the day, I believe. That's why we talk about being thankful in the morning, exercise, prayer, doing it first thing. Routine is important. If you can manage your routine right now effectively to keep it similar to how you were when you were in the office, that's really key. So if you went to an office, but in the morning you did certain things, try to keep that same routine in the morning. However, right now with scheduling and routines, a lot of it's changing. And there's really two groups of people right now that I've seen. One group is someone that can keep their 8 to 5 at home. And so in that routine, it's important. I'm going to start at 8 o'clock and I'm going to take a break and I'm going to take a lunch break. By the way, it's okay to do your laundry. It's okay to do the laundry at your lunch break at home. That's the benefit of working from home. It's okay. You don't need to promote that to everyone, but it's okay to do those things as long as you set a timer when it goes off, you're back to work. But you can have a plan throughout the day, like kind of within normalcy. But the other group of people, which we've talked to a lot of people, teaching kids from home now, you might have to have a different routine schedule, and it might involve a large block of time in the day where you're helping out with other areas, and you might have to work a little bit more at night in the short term. But the key is to have a clear starting time and a clear stopping time for when you're going to work, almost planning when you're going to work, and then sticking to that plan as best as possible. Daily pre-plan, this is like top 3 things we're going to accomplish for today. Tie habits to other habits. Gosh, if you brush your teeth every day and you can tie, I'm brushing my teeth and now I'm going to make my calls right after that, or I'm brushing my teeth and now I'm going to do 5 push-ups for my exercise, or I'm brushing my teeth and now I'm going to do this one thing for business I don't like to do. Tying habits to other habits is like the secret weapon to making things happen. People don't talk about tying habits to other habits as much, but that increases productivity in a major way. If you already do something very well, I already have coffee every morning. Well, if you already have coffee every morning and you can read something educationally during that time, that's one habit to another habit. People say it takes like I used to do the 21 days till habit thing. And again, I'm not saying that there isn't a time frame that some people maybe use, but the reality is it doesn't take 21 days to form a habit. A habit can be formed immediately if you tie it to another habit. Or like, if you think about it for a second, like if I came home from work and I decided I'm going to start eating ice cream every day when I get home from work, right when I get home and eat ice cream, how many days would it take me to form that habit? Like 1 day, right? 1 day to form that habit. And so good habits can be created immediately as well. So don't think it's going to take you forever to form these habits to be productive. It can happen today if you tie it to another habit. And then movement is important. I feel like there's some good interaction, but I want you guys to share your daily tips for productivity, maybe some planning, anything that resonated with you. Go ahead and put in the comments section. I'd love to hear what resonated with you and some of your wisdom. And Scott, maybe read a couple of these out, or anything else that you feel is pertinent for the last few moments.
Let's see, here we go. Committed to a daily Bible study in the morning with coffee from Phyllis Perry. Awesome. Doing the heavy lifting when I'm most alert from Wesley and Greer. I think that's a great idea. Fellow business coach, great idea.
Awesome. Glad to have a fellow business coach on here. Please.
I need to try to stop. Julia Chambers says she tries to stop and take a walk around the block every couple hours. I think that's a great idea. Keep your blood flowing. Sarah has a problem turning off her work. She's been working from home for years. Any comments about that?
Absolutely. Okay. I think this is actually going to be in one of our slides. So I do believe in having Sabbaths in general. So first of all, I believe in not having your phone on 1 day a week. I'm kind of a weirdo about stuff. I don't have a TV at my house. I believe in totally unplugging 1 full day a week. Now, I know that's not possible for everyone, but what we can do is you have to have a separate place to put your phone. And so one is to have that location of where you put your phone. The other thing to think about, I used to do this a lot. I used to take my phone, and so say at 6 o'clock, I'm gonna turn off my phone. I used to go to my wife and say, honey, I am going on vacation until tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I am gonna turn off my phone right now, and I'm gonna feel great, and I'm gonna be off until tomorrow. I turn it off and I put it away. I don't know if that helps, but like saying out loud, you're physically going on vacation for the next time frame, that works too. Hopefully that helps. That's a good nugget.
Love that idea. Got a couple people that are showering before they get dressed. One of them's our employee, so I'm really glad to hear that.
At least it's better than like getting dressed in the shower. That would probably be very unproductive for the day.
I'd like to add that I often use this analogy with our franchise owners. If you were a Subway or a retail shop and you started one day at 8 in the morning and cut off at 3 o'clock, and the next day you started at 11 and worked till 7, and the next day you were 9 to 5, but you took a 2.5-hour lunch with friends, you would be very successful. And that's the same way this is. You really have to be disciplined about your work day.
Awesome. Anything else, or I'll keep rocking it?
Keep going, bud.
All right. Tying into this is, well, let's say, we'll real quick go back to the action item. Do the quarterly RPA goals, do that. That's the action step, but just choose one of these daily tips. One thing I've heard a lot from people recently, and again, I know there's a lot of content on this that's really good. You're probably overwhelmed with good stuff and good ideas, but it is important to choose like a nugget and implement it. Don't think you have to do this all at once. So think about what resonated with you from the planning and just do one of it to start off with. Just choose one, because if you try to do it all at once, you're not going to get it done. But I do recommend, if you haven't done your quarterly RPAs, I would recommend sitting down and doing that. We'd be happy to do that with you individually with our coaches, because it is really important to get things planned out in order to know what the daily steps need to be. Okay. Now, the next question, or the next problem, is not managing my time well. And now I'm going to share with you a nugget you may have heard before, but this changed everything for my life. This is the most powerful question I think anyone could ever ask in regards to time management. It's the best question. It really is. And when you understand the answer to this question, and when you live out the answer to this question, it changes the dynamic of how you manage and how I manage my time. And the $1 million question is this: how much is my time? How much is your time? How much is your time worth? How much is your time worth? We have 3 different exercises that help people figure out that number. But for the sake of shortness here, you're going to have to choose a number. And if you're an entrepreneur that has a business, it needs to be at least $100 an hour, $150 an hour. Maybe you do it at $50 an hour, but you have to choose a number of how much your time is worth. If you bill for your time at $250 an hour, choose that number. There's some other processes we go through to figure out that, but it's unique to everyone. But choose, say, $50 an hour at the minimum. So if your time is worth $50 an hour, then all you do is you analyze all the activities you do throughout the day, and you figure out, is there anything I'm doing that's worth less than $100 an hour? When I got on social media and I posted something about networking action, that was a great use of my time. When I got on Facebook and I posted, that was a great use of my time. When I connect to people, it's a great use of my time. But then I got lost in social media, and then I somehow started watching videos about a child that did review on toys, and then I started talking, like looking at bunnies. That is not worth your time, right? So you're actually stealing from yourself if you do something worth less than your time. In business, that's labor efficiency, labor productivity. If it's someone that was reporting to you, you wouldn't want someone that is on your team to be doing things worth less than their hourly rate, because it would be stealing from you. If someone came into your home office or your real office and went and you had $100 on your desk and a team member stole it from you, you would call them a thief. So if you're stealing your own time, you are literally thieving, if that's a word, thieving from yourself. The next thing I'm going to challenge you to do is the hardest thing, I think, to do, and it'll give you the best results to have in time management. If you do the next thing and you commit to the next suggestion I give you, you will be ahead of 99% of people, or 99.9% of people in terms of productivity. But the problem is, it's really hard. What I'm going to ask you to do next. Are you guys ready to do it though? Are you guys up to the commitment? You guys ready to do it? All right. Record your time for a week, literally every 15 minutes. Simplest way is you literally have a piece of paper or your phone, and you're making notes every 15 minutes from like I open my eyeballs in the morning till right before I close my eyeballs at night. Every single thing, record every 15 minutes. And maybe you're doing business development for 2 hours. Okay, 15 minutes, you record that, right? Then you will see where you're spending your time and to be more productive. I'll tell you what, I am going to be honest with you. Well, I'm going to be real. Like there's things I'm not good at, certainly, but I'm one of the most productive people I know. I'm super productive. People look at me as productive. I'm doing this talk. I did this and I was shocked, like with ways that I was wasting time. And I try to do it like once a year. One of our core values is we do what we ask our clients to do. So we really try to live out our coaching. I have a coach. We try to live out what we teach. But I was shocked at myself. So I guarantee, like, if I'm really good at this, I'm really productive already, and I do this and I found great value, I save myself lots of money by doing this. So I challenge you, encourage you to do it. Here's some extra nuggets in regards to time management. Scott, I think, already brought this up in some degree. Start and stop time. Start and stop time. If you're a Subway, you start at a certain time, you finish at a certain time, exactly what he said. You gotta have some boundaries for when you start, where you stop. Turn off the phone. Great question earlier. Like, didn't know that question was coming, but it's super important to turn off the phone. We talked about routines and having breaks. Email frequency. I'm not a believer in checking email every 15 minutes. If you're in business development and it's a part of and you have to respond back, that might be an exception, but generally speaking, once a day, twice a day, thrice a day, 3 times a day, thrice a day, however the grammatically correct way to say it is, have some sort of plan for your email frequency, or you'll get in the abyss of emails. I did have a coach. We had a coach on our team one time that did believe that truly he needed to do the email first thing in the morning, and he was really productive and he knocked it out. He's 5% of the population. I do not believe in the first thing is to pull out the email. I believe that makes us unproductive, but because then your day is basically planned around what email and fires are out there. However, have a plan, frequency, social media. I love it. First of all, I love everything about social media. I love the fact that Network in Action is way ahead of the curve. I love the fact that we're so far ahead of the curve now with all this is going on. It's super helpful. I believe in social media, but you have to have a strategy for social media or it will eat you alive. And it won't care because it'll suck you in. And so you have to have a plan, strategy. If you're communicating with people and interacting and making comments with people, that's awesome. But if you get lost in the abyss of nothingness, be aware. And then movement throughout the day is key. All right. Posting some nuggets. What are your nuggets of time? Any other comments you have, or any other questions that you have about time management, Scott? I know it's kind of related to the other one, so maybe some of your questions are up. But Scott, did you have anything that popped out from the group?
Let's see. Toggle is a great app website you can use to track your time. TOGGL. Scheduling. Make a schedule and keep to it. I use Google Voice to set reminders. Love that idea from Stephen McGrail.
Nice.
Organize your work site. Can't concentrate with clutter.
Nice.
Here's a question: how to squeeze homeschooling? Yeah, most of us didn't sign up for homeschooling. How do you get that in your daily activities and still keep your schedule? I say still keep your mind. Oscar Maldonado suggested we set boundaries with our time. For now, we're doing everything virtually, so family might think you're always working, grow resentful of work. So you got to balance that. Faith, family, and career in the order of importance. Always want to live by. Spend time with Alec Bryan. Great. As a writer, Julia Chambers says, I relegate answering emails to specific times outside of my writing time. Love it. Creative work needs to be done first thing in the morning. Take a break during the day. Make it a competition to see how much you can do in that time. Look, this is awesome. Anna Jurgensen says, I have activity management instead of time management. I give myself points when I do certain activities. That's great. Gamify it.
Gamify. That's awesome.
As long as I have 4 points a day, I'm good. Love that, man. Awesome.
Cool. And the Gamify thing, there's actually like programs on Gamify. So I'm not sure if that was your self-creation or if it was a process, but there's like programs on Gamify. That's pretty cool that you said that. One other thing that you mentioned, which is cool, like writing, self-promotion here. I am an author as well. EntreBalance is a book that was published many years ago. EntreBalance and EntreBusiness is a book that was wrote. So if y'all have some reading time right now, please check out my books. But I had to go get away to write, and I had to just like really, like me writing, I had to totally unplug and get to a certain part of the house because if not, it was very hard for me to get into writing. So I love those comments. And from a time standpoint today, we're trying to do questions as we go. And I have this till 2:30. The content's about an hour, but I wanted to be interactive. I love what you got. Keep it flowing. We're going to keep doing this. And we're going to be done at 2:30, at least for my time, but I appreciate all the interaction. Record and document is the action step that I challenge you to do. Now what I want you to do, this is kind of something pretty cool. Get out your phones, and maybe you guys are working from your phone. And if you want to have a chance to get productivity tips, some of the things we're talking about, we give them away 2 or 3 times, just little nuggets throughout the week. Please go ahead and text 855-512-5152. You're going to text tips to that number, and you'll get a chance. It's not going to automatically get you in, but you're going to get a chance to get going with some of these tips, because the reality is repetition is important. And right now it's good to kind of get a little extra love throughout the week. Okay, man, I need to think about this specific thing. Man, I need to think about having boundaries for my time. Yes, I need to be even more cognizant about my prayer or my activities. So go ahead and text tips to 855-512-5152. I'll probably show the slide later, but hopefully it's working really well. Problem number 5. Not sure about tools and technology. I am not technologically, like I'm not an IT background person. This can be overwhelming. I talk about people that they work from home and their printer doesn't work and like their head turns red and it's about to explode. And I've had people literally want to throw their computers out the window because of frustration. It can be very frustrating if you can't log on, if your internet's not working. Totally get it. Here's some things to think about also as we're talking and interacting virtually with people. I believe this to be true. Man, if you're an IT person on this call, I'd love to connect with you later because I believe everyone needs to have a technology expert on their team. Like they do. During this time more than ever. And I do believe a technology expert's important. We have one in our NIA organization that she does an awesome job. I referred her to my clients. And I'll tell you, right, just a plug to Eileen, like we did some work for one of my clients several months ago. And the fact that they had an engagement already, it's a larger small business. They're working remotely right now and it's working smoothly. So again, having a technology expert, if you're a solo entrepreneur, having someone like that, or maybe having someone in your family or friends that can at least help you, I just think it's important. I definitely think you need to have a business coach on your team during this time, certainly. Technology expert to have in your back pocket, and a lot of other people, your NIA franchisee needs to be on your team right now. So all these people need to be on your team right now because now is the time to get through this together. Here's some tools to consider though. Collaboration tools. I have no financial benefit from this, but we use Slack as a company. A lot of people use Slack to collaborate back and forth. So what collaboration tools? And as we go through this list, we've already given some technological resources. Please put on there what you use or any other technological resources that you use. That would be very helpful right now. Project management. Again, I've used Basecamp in the past for projects. When are deadlines due? You can interact with a lot of people. It's good for project management. It's simple. You might use a different project management software. That's great. Shared calendars. We use Google. Having shared calendars, because you have to have communication with people in different areas, whether it's your vendors, other people on your team. If you're a leader, certainly you want to have maybe your team members, whatever. Shared calendars. Virtual meetings. We use Zoom. One of our clients that we have actually coached their entire coaching organization, they use GoToMeeting for like 200 person more events, but for the smaller ones, they use Zoom. Again, fortunately for NIA, we have like Dan, like the master of all technology. Whatever he says goes in terms of his suggestions, but that's what they do. But any other suggestions for virtual meetings, file sharing as well, we use Google, and then also have a fast, reliable internet. This, honestly, I talked about how you guys are the experts. We use these in our company, but right now more than ever, like if there's any tools that y'all recommend, put it out there. And Scott, I'd love for us to hear like what's working out there for people.
Sure. Let's see. Slack is awesome. Monday.com for workflow. Boomerang for email management.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted the number repeated. It's 855-512-5152.
855,
Zoho,
there you go. Yeah.
Zoho is a great all-in-one CRM, email marketing, etc. Trello, Trello, for task list from Teresa Strong at Bellinizio. Good suggestion. We used to use Wunderlist, which I love, and it's still available, but it's about to stop, so it might only last through the coronavirus. But Wunderlist, it's an app that I can assign employees activities and create the priority, and then they can check off when they've been done. I did read where they're about to do away with it. Can-A for creating a post on all social media and advertising. And Storyteller Promotions uses Dropbox for file storage. Calendly obviously is great for appointments. Crello from Vanessa Cox, Crello, is good for those not tech savvy in digital marketing ads. That's a great one. Thank you, Vanessa. And obviously Google Drive.
Mm-hmm. Good. Awesome. One thing, I pulled the tips up there too, if you want to type that or text that in. But one thing that's really, I want to give a quick shout out. I know Teresa Strong Bellinizio has been one of the nonprofits that I've supported. I know our chapter has supported, does a great job, but she is, if you guys have never connected with Teresa, you need to connect with her right now. She is already super productive, and I'm just happy she's on the call today. I learned a lot from her about personal productivity. And so if you guys have not connected with Teresa and just learned about her organization, you know, right now we need to really band around other people, and nonprofits and Bellinizio is something where I just am a huge, huge fan. I love Bellinizio so much. I decided to run 26 plus miles with the Bellinizio across my chest successfully. And so anyway, just really wanted to give a shout out to her as well. So action steps, choose one tool at a time. I don't want you guys to be overwhelmed because there's a lot of tools and technologies out there. Choose one at a time, get really good at it, and then keep moving forward. Problem number 6, and some of these are interrelated. How to communicate from home. How to communicate from home. A lot of people aren't good at even communicating when they're in the office next to someone. Hey, you're yelling down the office. How do you communicate from home? And it's really important to think about who you need to communicate right now. Like, who do you need to communicate more with right now? Do you need to communicate with your vendors more, with the person you report to more? What does that look like? Figure that out, and then remember this key point. Solution number 1 to communication. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about you. What does that mean? Well, if you have a boss you report to, or you have clients that you have, really the communication is what do they prefer? Now, certainly many of us here are leaders of our organization, and we need to create the structure for the communication for our organization. However, we have clients, we have other people, so we have to be aware, how do other people like to communicate? Do they like information via email? Do they want to communicate on Slack? Do they want to call? Do they want to text? How do they want you to communicate with them? So think about all the people you need to communicate, and then first and foremost, Don't say, well, man, because I like phone calls still. It's not all about them all the time. How do they like to communicate with? Solution number one, it's not about you. Think about the way that you need to communicate with other people. Solution number two is I always use the BAS communication model in everything. It's a proprietary tool I created many years ago about communication in general. B just stands for building a relationship. To communicate well with someone, you have to have a relationship with someone. So maybe right now, if you're doing some more video stuff to build that relationship, you have to build a relationship first and then ask questions. Ask lots of questions. If there's a communication challenge, make sure you understand what's going on and really be curious about that. So B is build a relationship. A is ask questions. S is solve a need. S is solve a need. And then the fourth S is secure the next step. So you build a relationship, you ask questions, you solve a need, you secure the next step, okay? Build, ask, solve, and secure. And we obviously go over this with our individual coaching sessions. We have a pretty cool little promotion right now for an individual coaching session where we actually go over this whole presentation with you one-on-one with one of the coaches on our team, where we talk you through productivity that relates to you. We can talk about things like communication specifically for you. It's about an hour coaching session. And the investment's only $47 to just do a one-off, not long-term, just a one-off to experience coaching right now. That's kind of the promotion we have to help out right now. And we go over things like this. I'll kind of let you know later how that can work if you're interested. We also do DISC. Many of you are familiar with DISC in a mighty way. It's about communication. Are you dominant? Are you direct? Are you inspiring, or do you influence people? Are you stable, steady? Is that your communication style? Are you correct, concise? We do this with all our clients. We actually do this as an option for the kind of the $47 one-on-one coaching session as well. But communication is key. It's because it's not about you. Maybe you like to tell stories. Maybe other people don't. Maybe you like the points, the bullet points. Maybe other people don't. So just understanding that it's not about you, and DISC is key. And the other thing is to have a job scorecard. This is key. And sure, when I say job scorecard, we have a template for this, but basically, what in your role, in your position, and everyone in your company, what are you responsible for? Because if you're working remotely and you know, okay, I'm working remotely, but I know I'm still responsible for doing these specific key performance indicators. I know that I'm responsible for doing this action, and it's clearly laid out, it's clearly written. That eliminates a lot of confusion. So our job scorecard, we have the core values of the company, and we have the mission, and we have the job purpose, but we also have specific metrics for each position so everybody knows what winning in that position looks like. Very important. If you're a solo entrepreneur, do it yourself. Do it for yourself. Like, what is your role? What are you responsible for? And how do you encourage yourself and hold yourself accountable? That's solution number 2. Now, the action in my thing is to choose 3 of these, or maybe just choose 2 of them. Like, one, it's not about you. Choose one. Maybe I'm going to start texting more. Maybe I haven't been doing that very well. Or maybe I'm going to pick up the phone more. Maybe I'm going to do more video. What's the communication style better for the person you want to communicate for? Maybe you choose that as one. Or maybe you choose to start doing BAS, the BAS model. Or maybe you choose to do your DISC. Or maybe you do a job scorecard. Choose 2 of those 4 as action items, because you can't do them all. I mean, it's hard to do them all at once. That is the action step for communication. And this goes along with communication problem number 7. How do meetings work? How do meetings work during this time? What are the meeting rhythms like during this time? How often do you meet? Now, maybe before we get started, okay, we'll do something before we actually get into the points here and how to solve it. But maybe you guys throw out something as we interact with the messaging. What does your meeting rhythms look like with your vendors? What does your meeting rhythms look like with yourself? What do your meeting looks like with your team? Who do you meet with? How often do you meet with them? Daily, weekly, monthly, twice a month? But I'm gonna spend a little time, I want you guys to post what you're currently doing that is hopefully working well. For those of you that a lot of this aren't doing these or aren't communicating effectively, hold off for a second, but what do you guys do that's working really well right now? Put those in there. Having meeting rhythms is super duper important. I love the network in action rhythms. I love the fact that, we have a chance to meet, in person and now virtually once a month with the collective group. I love the fact that we have rhythms where we need to connect individually with our groups, two, 3 times, maybe a month with different individuals, sort of the one-on-ones. I love that rhythm of having other options to connect with other people in network in action. We have certain rhythms for network in action that work really well. Scott, you want to jump in and say, what are some rhythms that are working for people right now?
Yeah, obviously, it's hard to be in relationships and not be able to get together. So we just have encouraged our franchise owners to make times available. I don't know if you saw, but we're actually going to have a joke telling, storytelling session Thursday afternoon. And it's really more for me. It was sort of selfish. I feel like I need a little laughter in my life. So if you've got a good short story or a good joke to tell, grab a glass of wine or a beer or your favorite beverage and join us Thursday on Zoom with NIA at 4 o'clock. You see it on the site. But I think it's important what you're saying, just to stay in the rhythm. We may get lucky here with the heat. I see we're only 6% of the corona is in temperatures like ours. So hopefully, we're thinking to be over soon. And the people that have continued to stay in a rhythm and continue to build their sphere of influence by reaching out to people right now. Yesterday, Eugene told a great story about, if you could just reach out to people right now in your spare time through text, through phone call, through email, and just check on people. It's going to increase the sphere of influence later when all this does pass.
Love it. And just a kudos to Network in Action's already good at communicating. And now that we're in this moment, I love the fact that we're not overly communicating. You're just giving lots of options for people to participate in community right now, because isolation is a major issue in our society in general, and even more right now. And so in my mind, I know Network in Action, first of all, I've personally earned a lot more money as being a part of Network in Action, so I don't want to downplay the business aspect of it. It's an ROI. The reason that our company, EntreResults, is involved in Network in Action is because there is a huge return on investment for the money and the time we put in. However, there's so many other things that are involved, the community side of it, the relationship, personal side of it. And right now, more than ever, we are communicating, and there's a lot of poorly run, loose networking groups out there that are doing a crappy job of communicating. And y'all are doing an awesome job, and I'm so proud to be a part of this group right now more than ever before. So again, thank you for all that you've been doing. Any other comments before I go into some of the points?
No, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Very good. So again, nothing really rocket science here, but rhythms. We need to have a yearly rhythm, a quarterly rhythm. The yearly rhythms are longer. Sometimes, again, it depends on the size of your company. If it's by yourself, getting away 1 to 2 times or 1 to 2 days every year away. Quarterly rhythms, longer planning involved there. Monthly, a little bit shorter than weekly, daily. There's called daily huddles, which are good, where you're just like, hey, what's up? If you're talking to your team, hey, what's up? Where you stuck? What's the one thing you're going to do to accomplish today? Boom, we're off, like real quick. How can I help you? And it's just real short and precise to the point. We actually think it's very important for large companies to have these daily huddles, especially right now. Have an agenda for the huddles or for your meetings is important. And then again, choosing the right technology. That's problem number 7. So having meetings. And then problem number 8, it's just the reality of where we're at right now. Problem number 8 is just being honest. A lot of people are being honest right now. Problem number 8 is that's what problem 8 is. 8 is it's still hard to do this stuff. There's all this information and it's good and I'm writing stuff and I'm engaged, but it's still hard to execute. It's still hard to make this happen. And so a couple things. One, I want to encourage you, but the other thing is it's never said anything great is easy in life. So it's not like going to be easy. However, a couple things to think about: review. So even this PowerPoint, we're going to send out basically an option later. If you get into those tips where you're getting information, we, as of tonight, are going to have an ebook that's finished with this stuff on steroids, like everything we talked about in more depth, like a 20-page ebook that is going to be put together, and it needs to be reviewed constantly. This information reviewed constantly. And the other thing is accountability. Accountability is key right now, and encouragement. That's why with Network in Action, we got to stay to the course with connecting with people. Certainly from a coaching environment, we meet with people consistently, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, to help hold people accountable, but also to encourage people to do the things that you say you're going to do. There's no doubt that it flat out works. It's just, it is what it is. And so that's some things to think about right now. Maybe you have a good friend who isn't negative, real positive, and can help you with that. Maybe someone else in the Network in Action community that you guys can help each other right now. Certainly the franchisees can help you right now. We're a resource from a coaching company to help you right now. There's a lot of things that we need help with. I've been calling my support network more than anyone else. I've been talking to Moose more now than I ever have, really. I've been talking to our bankers and CPAs and our IT people and I've been talking to my coach more. I mean, so anyway, just want to encourage you guys to review and be willing to allow yourself to be held accountable. Do both of these. Review, hold yourself accountable. I mean, you got this. You got this right now. Those are the 8 different steps. Now, here's some things that we have, and then I want to jump to kind of the landing the plane here in a second, and we'll have time for maybe a few more questions before we wrap up. Again, the tips, if you want to text tips, that is the information regarding the 2 to 3 productivity tips per week. Text action. If you text action right now, you'll get, and just try it out. I mean, you get like 6 or 7 of these points that we talked about today. Nothing revolutionary, but just kind of gives a little thing on your text message of some things to think about right now. The tips, it takes you to a place where you kind of have to put your email in. But the action, you get it right to your phone. Text home. Now, I alluded before about we're having, again, this is just a 1 session, not our longevity, but to invest $47, we'll go over this with you specifically. We'll go over your specific challenges, your time, how to encourage you right now. It's only, it's a $47 investment. We have a team of coaches that can do it. I may do 2 or 3 of these, but obviously I have a limited amount of time. We all do. But if you're listening to text home, and someone will follow up with you to do the $47. You'll get the disc as well. And then the final thing, and really, we would love to share this webinar and do more of these webinars with other people. We're still choosing to do live webinars, meaning we're not just recording this and sending this to everyone. This one can be recorded for Network in Action, but our other ones we're not recording. But we're doing these live because I think this interaction is important. I think community is important. So if you text webinar, I think you'll get our next one, which is tomorrow. That's, again, it's not a part of Network in Action. It's another webinar where people can join this. But if you know of a larger organization that we can do this for 100 people on their team, we'll do it for free. If there's other small groups, maybe sales teams, we can kind of do things where it's working from home productively for sales teams. It's again, a free webinar with similar content. We're really getting a lot of requests. All our coaches are doing this, and it would be a resource you can provide for other people, but also it would help us out as well. So you can text webinar, tips, action, home, webinar to this number. And then now we're gonna land the plane. The plane is landing. The plane is landing right now. Aha. Your aha moment for today. Get busy typing it out. What is your aha moment today? What's the one thing that's your aha? Type that in. It's, I already knew this, but I'm gonna do this. This is my aha. Or, oh, man, not having bad days, only have bad moments, aha. Or, man, I need to do some more meeting rhythms. Or, aha, I need to record my time. What is your aha moments?
Some good ones here. Great time to build your social network since everyone is at home. The internet usage is through the roof. If you've seen the statistics on that, Teresa Strong reminded that we're all in this together. Amen to that.
Amen.
Bad moment, not a bad day. Love that. Only having bad moments. Think about how valuable that is when I know personally when I let things get in the way of productivity and how much it costs you. Seems
Awesome.
like that's the popular theme.
Love it. Great ahas. My personal information, it was a privilege to be on here. Joy to serve the community. Scott, is there anything else that you want to chat about today or anything else?
I think we're good. I think we're good. I appreciate you being on. It was great information. Obviously shows why your company's successful and how helpful you've been to our franchise and to our franchisees. So I appreciate all your help. Thank y'all all for joining today. Tomorrow we're going to change gears at 1 o'clock, same place, Central Time. We have a author and happens to be a network and action franchise owner in Phoenix, but she has written a book on networking, and she actually travels the country speaking on networking. So if you feel like you want to be a better networker, we hope you'll join us. If you can't join us, we'll send out a recording of it the following day. So Jared's recording will be out tomorrow on the email, but hopefully you can join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock for Tish Times. Stay healthy, stay positive, and you never bump into anything sitting down. Remember that. Have a great day. Thank y'all so much.